Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It's another beautiful 35 Thursday. And again, if you're still sleeping on Gematria, I don't know what it's going to take to wake you up, but I'm going to be here every week reminding you about 35 Thursday. Last week was the worst it was in a while, but it was still a winning 35 Thursday last week. Today, it returned to perfection. And again, this same pattern works across the entire world of rig sports: NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, over and over. 35 Thursday. And it's because in Gematria, Thursday equals 35. And it goes beyond that. It's not just that Thursday equals 35, but that's the thing to understand. That's the 101 level. There were 3 games today where 35 could play in the NHL. One had really great value, another had great value, and the third had decent value. The Bruins, with the decent value, beat the Blackhawks, picking up their 35th win. The Coyotes were a 3-1 payout with an upset over the Maple Leafs. They stayed on 35 regulation losses, just like they did last Thursday. They've been hanging on that 35, the Coyotes. They were the saving grace last week, a 35 Thursday. It would have been a break-even day, but the Coyotes were a nice payout last Thursday as well, staying on the 35. 2 Thursdays in a row, the Coyotes do it. Big payouts, 2 35s in a row. But the Coyotes stay on 35 regulation losses, and the Calgary Flames just finished their game, picking up, well, it hasn't even updated yet here, but they did get their 35th win of the season when it updates. The Flames had 34 wins coming into the game. It just finished, so they haven't even updated it. But those were the 3 35 plays today in the NHL, and they all come through. Again, 35 Thursday, the gift that keeps on giving. I've told you guys so many times, if you're just going to gamble, if you want to be a gambler and just start small, start with 35 Thursdays. It hits nearly every week. There are some weeks where it's a colossal disappointment, but it hits the vast majority of times. And the name of the game is winning more than you lose. And you definitely do when you stick with 35 Thursday. And again, at the same time, I got to send a thank you out there to everyone who continues to sleep on the knowledge, because if everyone was doing it, you know they would have to shift gears. And that might be why some weeks 35 Thursday falls apart, but most weeks it smashes. And congrats to everyone who won with Baylor getting upset by Oklahoma today. Remember how Baylor kept upsetting the Oklahoma schools in college football? Now Oklahoma upsets Baylor. But again, the big clue was Baylor falling to 26-6, a number I continue to educate about. We've been talking about how all of the major sports this year have been clearly synced up with the Pope, who's the 266th Pope in the history of the church. That's why he spoke in Washington, D.C. in 2015 on the 266th day of the year. And remember, the Jesuit motto, the IHS in their logo, it stands for Isus Hominum Salvator, which equals 266. When you do it with numerology, it equals 85. Like basketball, the big way is 85. Like March Madness, the first one was an 85. Again, Pope Francis just turned 85. The Super Bowl right after his birthday was won by the Rams in their 85th season with 85 seconds left in the game. Again, right after they gave Brady his 85th and final career loss. And then right after that, Penske Racing wins the Daytona 500 on Roger Penske's 85th birthday, and the driver's name equaled 266. Again, Jesus Hominum Salvator, 266-85. What's real interesting about Oklahoma defeating Baylor, who won the 82nd March Madness last year, remember Baylor University, 82, won the 82nd March Madness, getting their 28th win of the season over Gonzaga. Baylor, 28, Gonzaga, 28. What's interesting about this loss today for Baylor, the defending champions in the Big 12 championship, right before it's bracket weekend. They're going to put out the bracket, I believe, on the Pope's birthday. I believe the bracket comes out on not his birthday, excuse me, the anniversary of him becoming Pope. That was March 13th, 2013. I believe the bracket comes out March 13th this weekend. And what's interesting about 3-13-13, the day he became Pope, 3 is the second prime number, 13 is the sixth. So 3-13-13 in primes is 266, like he became the 266th Pope. Anyhow, from his birthday, Saturnalia, to today's game was 83 days later. That's interesting because it's going to be the 83rd March Madness. and a lot of times they're dropping clues along the way. So I'd take a good look at the games in the tournament today. You might want to look yesterday as well, or not the tournament, but just in college basketball. Yesterday was his 83rd day of his age. Today's 83 days after his birthday. Again, it's the 83rd March Madness coming up. Don't forget the first ever March Madness was the Catholic school Villanova beating the Jesuit school Georgetown in 85. Now Pope Francis is 85. You got to think they're going to do something definitely Catholic Jesuit once again this year. Baylor's the Christian school. But again, if you've forgotten college football, we had a great year with college football this year. Dominated it again. And, we had Baylor to upset Oklahoma State. We also had Baylor to upset Oklahoma earlier in the season. And what's funny about from the Oklahoma-Baylor football game to now Oklahoma beating Baylor, this was an upset for Baylor in football. Now we have Oklahoma upsetting Baylor in basketball. These games are a span of 118 days apart, and March Madness equals 118. So, see what they do. We'll see what they do with the bracket. Could these teams face again? We'll find out. But, again, you guys, 35 Thursday. Oh, by the way, with Oklahoma winning was 72, don't forget Jesuit order equals 72. The bracket comes out on the 72nd day of the year, March 13th. Again, that's the day in history we got the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. The Jesuits were created in history on a date with 72 numerology. A lot of big rituals with the Jesuits in 72. The number gets its significance from astrology. It takes 72 years for the sun to move 1 degree on the astrological wheel. Of course, the Jesuits' logo is the sun. It's part of the reason Joe Biden became senator-elect in 72 and his wife and daughter died in a car crash days later. And it's part of the reason Beau Biden died at age 46 while he was 72 years old, years before he became the 46th president. Being from the Jesuit town of Scranton, Pennsylvania. But yeah, congrats to the winners. Again, another 35 Thursday. And I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake up, man. You put $5 down on those 3 hockey games tonight, you got yourself about... Well, it's a lot closer to 100 than it was before. So, anyway, $5 bill can pay the groceries on a 35 Thursday. We'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. One other announcement, GematriaEffectNews 24 got suspended today. It's on a 2-week suspension. I probably won't post there again because that's been my rule. When my channels, because I was losing so many channels, ever since I've gotten to 2 strikes, I've just moved on to the next channel to try and preserve the work. So GematriaEffectNews 25 just created today. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. It's almost up to 2,000 subscribers. But this is where I'll start doing the majority of my news work. And it should let me start live streaming tomorrow on that channel. So I'll be on there soon. And also the new book is almost done. But... just glad to see 35 Thursdays perfect again. It wasn't worth bragging about last week. It was still a winner, but it's been perfect a lot of recent weeks, and it returned to perfect form once again tonight. So we'll keep it short and sweet. If you guys aren't signed up for the Patreon, again, the link's in the description. We'll be talking college basketball. And do pay attention because... today is 83 days after the Pope's birthday. It's also his 84th day of his age. That means tomorrow will be his 85th day of his age, and Saturday will be 85 days after his birthday. Let me just see real quick. What's left in college basketball before they give us the bracket? So the Auburn Tigers play tomorrow. They're 27-4. Isu Samram Salvatore. It's 266 in reverse. It's 274 forwards. Again, it's the year of the Tiger. So Auburn's playing on the 85th day of the Pope's age. That's interesting. Keep an eye on that score tomorrow. Houston had that big ritual with young Dolph. They're not a Christian school like Baylor, but Yeah, the Houston going the 266 direction is interesting because James Harden's now on Philadelphia, getting, he has the Houston connections. We saw what they did. Remember Ben Simmons? That game's a little more interesting right there, but just to remind you, Ben Simmons got traded on February 10th like we expected with James Harden of the 76ers when that was the day in history in 76 that Black History Month was first recognized by Gerald Ford. And Gerald Ford's full name equals 275. Federal government 275. Philadelphia 76ers 275. Remember, Ben Simmons, the LSU Tiger, he finished his career with the 76ers with 275 regular season games. So, and this is the 76th pro basketball season, 75th year of the NBA brand, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what they're doing with Philly and Harden because there's been some big old rituals. Remember how the Bulls got to 23-8 on the eve of Jordan's birthday when Michael Jordan's 238, and then North Carolina upset Duke to get to 23-8 in the season? Harden on Jordan's birthday, the team he got traded to won while his two former teams lost, while the Sun Devils, his college, also won in a big upset, and Houston that night won in college basketball as well, all on Jordan's birthday. And again, Harden's birthday is the 238th day of the year. Like Michael Jordan equals 238. Like again, North Carolina got to 23-8 in the regular season. The Bulls 23-8 at home on the eve of his birthday. We had that nice little thing where we said, looks like the Bulls should win 4 straight at home to get to 23-8. But Jordan did play his last game in Philly too, synced up with Kobe's last game. All things we talked about. Books written about it. But yeah, keep an eye on these games on the Pope's 85th day of his age. That 266 could play for that reason with the Isus Hominum Salvator. IHS also equals 18, and Houston's the 18 seed. That'd be a nice upset if it happened. Cincinnati's a 12-point dog, so that's the kind of game where if there's games you like tomorrow, Cincinnati, risky, but a potential huge parlay multiplier. That's where, if you have some nice winnings today, maybe you take $5 out of those winnings. You make a ticket with Cincinnati upset in Houston just in case it goes the 266 route on the Pope's 85th day of his age. And then you stick it with the other games you like and you try to turn a $5 bill into upwards of 100. Again, you'll be playing with house money a lot of the time with this knowledge, and it allows you to make small risks and get big payouts. But, yeah, I'd eyeball some of the games tomorrow. Iowa's a number 24, right? And their next win's 24. That's funny. But yeah, I would think about these games tomorrow in light of what they're doing. They're syncing everything up with the Pope. Tomorrow's his 85th day of his age. Wisconsin can get their 25th win. That's a Pope number. Kansas comes into the game 26-6. Kentucky with the win hits the 266 on the 85th day of his age. Again, Isus Hominum Salvator's 266.85. Purdue does the same thing on the Pope's 85th day of his age. The Boilermakers. And that's in Indianapolis. That's in 201 town. But yeah, I imagine that the majority of those 266s that can hit, and perhaps the teams that already come in with that record, perhaps that's the winning record to come into with that day. But yeah, I would really pay attention to the scores, and I'll be paying attention to the scores, and we'll be talking about it in a big way when we start doing the March Madness on Patreon. But this is just for all of you guys who don't want to sign up for the Patreon, these are the kind of things I'll be looking into. What are in the scores tomorrow? Where does that factor in with the numbers of the tournament? Again, this is how we end up figuring it out when we read the clues right. But Saturday, which is the peak of the first ever Ignatian year in the day in history Ignatius of Loyola was made a saint, 71st day of the year, and March Madness equals 71 like Catholic. This day is 266, or not, excuse me, this day is 85 days after the Pope's birthday. So Friday's his 85th day of his age, Saturday's 85 days after his birthday. Be looking for similar things. So the Friday games will determine some of the Saturday matchups. But yeah, both these days going to be real interesting to pay attention to. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And yeah, Patreon this weekend. I might even think about doing an extra bonus Patreon stream tomorrow before the games. Just take a deeper look at what we just skimmed over. So, if not, definitely Saturday. We'll leave it there for now. Have a good night, all. And until next time.